Hail Mary, full of Rogers. The Cobb is with thee. Third time's a charm as the New York Giants fall to the Packers. A familiar foe, but on the road, is up next as Elliott will look for E.T. instead of the Packers D. We head to Dallas on a road to the Super Bowl next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Hey Packers fans, this is your unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, and these are the podcasters you're looking for. One of these guys, even though he's a huge fan of the Packers, he doesn't like bratwursts and wonders if that's wrong. And the other guy bangs the drum all day and thinks, touchdown. And now it's time to go, Pack, go, with your hosts, Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinritz.
Thanks for joining us for a fun edition of the Packers Fan Podcast. It's the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. And the feedback hotline is open 24/7. Area code 920-3PACK-GO. If you're more into numbers, that's area code 920-372-2546. But it's a lot more fun to say 920-3PACK-GO. Or simply visit PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to get in your feedback. This is episode 127 of your Packers Fan Podcast, recorded January 10th, 2017. And the show notes are at PackersFanPodcast.com/127. What are we going to talk about tonight, Troy?
We're going to talk about all the things we loved from that wild card playoff win over the Giants. Hail Mary. Look at the injury report and see how Jordy's doing after that cheap shot. I hope that guy never plays football again. Jerk. And record number of voicemails and feedback from all of you, the Packers Fan Podcast community, coming up.
And I'm going to share what really caught my eye from this week's Packers dope sheet for the Packers at Cowboys divisional playoff game. Troy, you're going to have the keys to the Packers beating those pesky Cowboys on Sunday. And we'll have our wild guesses of the final score of this week's Packers at Cowboys matchup. Me, I'm at Wayne Henderson, your voice acting, podcasting part owner of the NFC North champion Green Bay Packers.
And I'm Troy Heinritz, your also part owner of the soon-to-be 14-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. Can't wait, 2 to go.
It'll be here before you know it. Remember, the Packers Fan Podcast is available on demand and on the go with our free Packers Fan Podcast app. We got one for iOS. We've got one for Android, and both of them are presented by theticketking.com. Remember, you are not sold out until the king is sold out. Get your Packers tickets at the best prices by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets.
Man, what a game. Woo! Sir Wayne. What a game.
Yes, it started out a bit slow. And
a bit slow. Thank God for the Hail Mary. All Hail Mary, because until that pass landed in Cobb's breadbasket, that game was a scary one waiting to happen.
I don't know. Even though it was slow, how it started, I was not nervous at all. I knew we would eventually get into the groove. I was just hoping it would be even sooner.
Remember when we used to start really fast and then be like, oh, okay, we're done playing at a half?
Yes, that was bad too.
I feel like this is the 1980s Packers where we're only good for one half for some reason. We have to play the full 4 quarters just so we can demolish people by 60 plus points or more.
You know, that would be nice.
It makes it a lot less stressful.
I'm all for that starting this coming Sunday in Dallas. You know, one of the highlights that we normally don't talk about from our favorite things from the game was the fact that Jeff Janis, that great tackle he made, I think it was a punt return that was attempted by the Giants. Somehow Jeff Janis got down there first and just planted the man.
You know what I have to say about Jeff Janis? That dude's fast.
He is. I could not believe it.
He is standing right on top of that punt return receiver, just waiting before the ball even gets there. He is one quick dude.
And, you know, he hammered the guy pretty dang good, too.
He should.
It was so good to see.
Hey, that's what Monday morning feels like after you're on a boat.
Boom.
Devontae Adams, he's still rising, getting better every single game. This is fantastic that he was able to pull in a touchdown over 100 yards in this contest. I mean, when you needed him most, he stepped up. That nice, he jumped the corner, and then Rodgers just kind of floated that over his head, and he pulled that sucker in. Man, was that a nice play. If we could do that a couple times against Dallas, we got no trouble at all.
That was a thing of beauty. Aaron Rodgers, everybody's been saying it. He's on fire. He's got the look in his eye. And, boy, he was targeting Randall Cobb like there was no tomorrow.
Oh, my gosh. 3 touchdowns, and he went over 100 yards, too. It's so good that Randall Cobb was on that field because after Jordy went down, I was like, ooh, we're going to throw to besides Devontae and Geronimo and Jericho? Oh, wait, we got enough people. We'll be fine.
Man, that would have been such a great game to have been at, but both of us were under the weather and ill last week. Could you imagine if we were sitting out in a 13-degree stadium, we would have both come down with pneumonia by the end of the game.
Is this when I tell you I had tickets? I had tickets and I could have gone.
Oh, I did not know that you actually had tickets.
I had tickets. I could have been there. And then I was like 13 degrees and sinus infection. And yeah, that just does not go well. So yeah, stayed home, but I could have been there. Oh, well.
Hey, Houston's coming up. And Aaron Rodgers, like we said, doing fantastic. You know, and one thing that I just loved was the fact that after that first half Hail Mary touchdown pass, the Arizona Cardinals, who have no stake in this game, totally out of the playoffs.
The official account of the Arizona Cardinals.
The official Twitter account of the Arizona Cardinals right after that play, they tweeted out, "Seen that before." I love it.
It's like, ooh, wow, wounds. That's what you got to do when you're playing from home, though, I suppose.
Hey, it made it fun. And
hysterical. I laughed out loud. I saw that come across, and I was like, oh, snap.
We definitely give 2 thumbs up to the Arizona Cardinals for creativity and playing along and having some fun with all the action.
You know what I was told in the Pop Warner League growing up, Wayne?
What were you told, Sir Troy?
I was told that you always play until you hear the whistle.
That's true. That's good advice.
What. And I'm so glad Clay Matthews played on that same Pop Warner team because he played the whistle as well. And man, was that a big turning point of the game.
That was fantastic. And I was surprised how many people were kind of standing around on both sides of the ball. And Clay, man, he just laid out that giant, threw him on his rear end. And he's like hanging onto that ball.
He's just standing there holding the ball like he's walking, picking up groceries or something. And then boom, there's Clay Matthews. Hello, good morning, good night. There's the ball, and we go to score on that turnover. That's the best part, is that we scored on the turnovers.
Really made them pay. And then there was a cleanup on aisle 6.
And 7 and 8, because he obliterated them into the next country.
Just so many good things. We were really in the groove, and if we can carry this over, man, no stopping us. Even our buddy Rip got to run in a touchdown. Oh,
that touchdown was great. Just the whole team was pushing. He's still driving, getting those legs moving. And when you finally fell over and you could see the referee and you're like, oh, just please let there be a good angle because we need that score so badly.
And I know that a lot of our listeners that are in Europe that are, big rugby countries, they definitely had some rugby flashbacks watching that because it was just a scrum. And when Rip's involved, it's usually going the correct direction, which is the best part.
As long as you keep driving and keep pushing, that's all you got to do. And then we had that great interception at the end from Demarius. And he almost runs the thing back for another touchdown. I was so bummed that he actually didn't make it all the way because it sure looked like he was really primed to go all 100-plus yards.
Yeah, unbelievable. Just keep it up, guys. Take that into Dallas, and it's, the weather's going to be perfect because I'm sure Jerry Jones is having the roof closed. So there's no reason that we just can't carry this on. Because remember, the Giants were supposedly the number 2 defense in all of the NFL.
Yes. We played against the Vikings, who had a great defense. We played against the Giants twice, who had a great defense. So we should have no problem dismantling the Cowboys as long as we can stop Elliott's Ezekiel. That's going to be a tough one.
Were there any lowlights that jumped out at you from this game?
Oh, the spearing play was ridiculous. Oh. I mean, he came in. He knew 100% what he was doing, leading with the crown of his helmet. That should be 100% flagged and suspensions handed out because the fines don't do crap. I mean, these guys make enough money. I mean, the fines are just a waste of time. Suspensions is what needs to happen.
Yeah. Is there any way, because I saw some people tweeting about this, is there any chance that a criminal assault charge could be filed against the guy? Because that was like intent to injure. And nothing else.
Totally knock him out. I mean, completely ruin a guy's career. for something like that. I mean, you think about insurance policies and things that have to be done between the teams and the league and the players and the families, and it's just not smart football. All you had to do is turn your head to the side and hit them with the shoulder pad.
Yeah. This whole Giants team, man, I don't know what they were thinking leading up to the game, prior to kickoff, during the game. That team, the wheels have come off, and I would not be surprised if next year they don't even win 5 games.
Well, you remember, though, they do have the head coach that actually is winning in December because he learned when he was in Green Bay for the 2 years he was there. So I think that the Giants are still going to be a formidable opponent, and who knows what it'll look like next year. So I think we should keep an eye on them.
Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on them, but I think they've peaked and the wheels have just come off. I don't think they're going to recover from this for a long time.
At least we don't have to play them. That's the key.
Yes.
But we do have to go down and see the Cowboys again next year, which we're playing a contingency way, and you should get in on the action. Come hang out with us in Texas.
That would be a fun plan. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys road game next season, that's as close to Southern California that the Packers are going to get to me. So,
well, there you go. Start saving now because we are going. We got family down there, so we got lodging, and heck, all the Packers podcast fans can come down. Plenty of room for everybody.
I think we should definitely work on that on the off season. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Oh man, the outside corner coverage though. There were times during that game where I'm just thinking, gosh, if Odell pulls in one of these touchdowns, we are so done. Luckily, they had complete fumbleitis on their hands and couldn't catch a damn thing, not even a cold or a disease down in the boat on Miami. So it was helpful for us. But yes, I went there. But I think that we really need to take another look again this week at practice and just really shore up those corners because, man, if Dak Prescott can hit the corners, we're going to be in some big trouble again this week.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. And we need to start fast. If at all possible, score often, score early, score late, score all the time.
Yeah, I had a question for you on that. Like, what's the deal with us winning the coin toss and deferring?
I have no idea.
That's like the 4th or 5th time I've seen that now this season. And I like to have the ball at the start of the second half, but if you're going to have the ball at the start of the second half, you better score a damn touchdown. Yes. Because every third quarter we've had the ball at the start of the half. It's like, man, we could go up 2 scores right here and 3 and out. Like, what the hell?
I think it's just a trendy thing. I've noticed a lot of teams doing that this season, especially the second half of the season.
I think they're just afraid to say, we want the ball and we're going to score.
Oh, yeah. Matt Hasselbeck would be proud.
He has that on a T-shirt.
He should have it on a T-shirt. It's one of the highlights of Hasselbeck's career as far as Packers fans are concerned. We had our weekly Monday Twitter poll, our Victory Monday. We've had a lot of Victory Mondays lately. Anyway, tweeted out with hopes and dreams of avenging our Week 6 loss to the Cowboys this coming Sunday. How do you, the Packers Fan Podcast listeners on Twitter, at Packers Fan Pod, how do you think it'll happen? And nobody voted that they think special teams are what's going to make it happen to beat the Cowboys. And surprisingly, only 2% of the voters at Packers Fan Pod said that there are going to be stacks of Dak sacks. Say that 10 times fast. Personally, that was my vote. I may have been the 2%. I think we're going to sack Dak all day, and that's what's going to be the difference. 33% of the people voted saying that turnovers are going to be how we are beating the Cowboys on Sunday, and 65% are going with our old standby because if it worked this week and the week before, do it again. Offense. The Green Bay Packers offense is going to win big.
Yeah, turnovers are key for this game because that's how we lost the Week 6 matchup. I mean, we were there within 1 score when we dropped the ball inside the 20. So if we can make sure that the turnovers are cut to a minimum, we've been doing a really great job during the stretch. And I tell you, there's just like that, for some reason, there's like the feeling like, oh my God, like especially with the Hail Mary, if it would have gotten picked off, I mean, that's like Rodgers' first interception in 7 games?
It's been a long time. And if there's any play that you would think would either be knocked down or intercepted, you would think it'd be one of those, but so far so good.
Crossing fingers and toes and legs and arms. Superstition starting to set in. 2 to go, Wayne. 2 to go.
Can you believe it?
I'm sitting here going like, you don't want to think ahead past this weekend, but man, 2014 Seattle Packers rematch. The story could happen. Could happen.
Very well could.
And then we destroy them 100 and something to nothing.
And oh, wow, I love the sound of that. And since the Packers game is, again, the last game of the weekend, even before this game, us fans at home will know if we win where we're going.
And we're going on the road no matter what because of the way it worked out.
True.
With Seattle having enough wins to be just ahead of us or enough or less losses because of the tie. We'll either go to Seattle or we'll go to Atlanta. Either way, we are on the road for these two. So no hopes of going back to Lambeau Field yet this year because the Detroit Lions lost. Oh, well. That's okay. We're going to win 3.
Let's just do it. It's but a formality.
Got to do it soon, man. Time is running out. Or unless Aaron Rodgers is like the next, I hate to say it, Tom Brady, and he plays till he's 45. That'd be great, too. That's 10 more years.
As long as he keeps playing like he's playing. The one thing that made me nervous coming out of this game was, it's kind of obvious, the Jordy Nelson injury. Is there any chance that this guy could be back this season or even this week?
Well, they were talking about it in the press conference. Mike McCarthy was saying that he's actually doing pretty well, but he's going to be with the rehab team, the rehab unit all week, not going to practice until Saturday. If he practices on Saturday, he can play on Sunday. If he doesn't practice, no play. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see if he's going to be able to recover. Now, Wayne, it's just me, but Randall's healthy. Geronimo's out there. You got Cook out there. Devontae Adams. I almost would rather not have Jordy play this week. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, we certainly don't want him to re-aggravate these injuries because I've never seen Jordy in that much pain before, and I don't need to see him in that much pain again. Yeah, and if we can get by the Cowboys with all the great players that we have catching passes right now, and then have Jordy be even healthier for the NFC Championship game if we win, that makes sense too.
Yeah, I mean, you got Ty, and then Christian Michael was coming up this week. Man, did he have a couple nice runs. Mm-hmm. So if we can put that in, plus you got Rip back there mixing it up. I mean, we have a pretty formidable offense without Jordy as it stands. And we won this game pretty much without Jordy on the field. So I think we should let him rest up one more week.
All right, Jordy, we are thinking of you. We want you back soon. I guess the theme for this week is win one for the Jordy.
Win one for the Nelson or the Nelsons, the Nelson brothers. Oh, no, that's a band. That's something totally different. Oh, my goodness.
Maybe he's related, but you digress, or I digress.
I digress. And we could digress even more if you can help us make the Packers Fan Podcast even better. Become a Packers Fan Podcast Patreon supporter. It helps us grow the show, bring more great content each and every week, but you get rewards too. So check out all the different levels by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/support. You might even be able to go to a game at Lambeau Field during the 2017 season with me. Yes, that's right. Best seats around, man. 45-yard line, 45 rows off the field on the Packers bench side. You want to be part of that. So just head on over to PackersFanPodcast.com/support for all the details. Thanks again to Saberade and Dawn Lejeune, a.k.a. Granny Cheese, for their awesome Patreon support of your Packers Fan Podcast.
Awesome. Well, let's dig into the best part of the show, the listener feedback, and we've got a lot to share for you. Let's fire it right up from the heart of Bears country, Scott.
Hey guys, this is Scott Clark calling from Rockford, Illinois. Just want to call in. It's the first time I've actually had a chance to call in. Been listening to your podcast for quite a while and really enjoying it. How about that game against the Giants yesterday? Holy cow. Started out a little bit rough. I was starting to feel a little bit nervous, but the Pack had definitely brought it and kicked it into gear. Aaron Rodgers is on fire. And I just had to say, I think one of the key moments of the game for me was that fumble recovery where Clay Matthews forced not one, but 2 fumbles in a single play. I don't know that I've ever seen that happen, ever. Such an incredible play to see, and just the fervor that he had and showed to keep that play alive and play to the whistle. Awesome to see, and I can't wait for next week. And speaking of next week, It's gonna be a tough game, guys. However, I think we've got one saving grace, and I think that is Dak Prescott. He's doing awesome. He's been having a really great season. However, I'm kind of hoping that he gets some of those rookie jitters a little bit, and being in the playoffs, and that shakes him to the core a little bit. I think if that happens, we've got a real shot against the Cowboys next week. Keep up the great work, guys. We'll continue listening. Have a wonderful week, and go Pack Go.
Scott from the Gaming Outsider podcast. So good to hear from you. Troy, excellent pointed out about Dak Prescott from Scott.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rookie quarterback thrown into a situation because Tony Romo goes down. I mean, this is going to be nerve city when you're talking about playoff time. So we're going to have to wait and see how he actually responds. But he is with his home crowd, so I think that at least calms his nerves a little bit. And he does have such a great offensive line in front of him. So I think it's going to be a real great challenge for the Magnificent Seven. They really stepped it up this week, crushing. I mean, the run was like non-existent for the Giants, which is really good because they've really been coming on with their two running backs over the last couple of weeks.
Right.
So, for them to be able to stack up the Giants, I think is a very good showing to say how we might be able to tackle Ezekiel next week.
Yeah, and I think Dak, he's had a great season, like you and Scott both mentioned, but when you're a rookie, when the playoffs hit, especially if Clay Matthews can get back there and do some hitting, it's going to be a whole another world. All right, we also heard from our good friend, frequent caller Miguel from Phoenix with some more great Packers thoughts.
Hey, Wayne and Troy, it's Miguel in Phoenix. Just got done watching the game. I'm super excited. I was a little worried in the beginning with the slow start, as I'm sure you guys were, but it's great to see the guys get a W. Can't wait for next week. I'm heading over to my nephew's house, who's a Cowboy fan, to watch the game. We're going to barbecue a little bit and then, get the game going and maybe start scrapping a little bit ourselves. But it's all in fun. I was wondering, what do you guys think is going to be the biggest difference in next week's game? Is it going to be bottling up Zeke Elliott, or our banged-up defensive backs covering the Dallas receivers, or maybe Aaron Rodgers getting into his rhythm and finding the receivers early and, just really sticking it to the Dallas Cowboys? What do you guys think? Also, I wanted to let you guys know that throughout the holiday season, and even here recently, I've been buying all my stuff on Amazon through your guys' Amazon link to try and help out the podcast. But I can't wait to hear the podcast, and go Pack Go.
And thanks so much for Miguel for calling in. And I want to say the big thing I think is the factor for this meeting between us and the Dallas Cowboys is going to be Jared Cook. Jared was not out on the field all that much, if at all, when we played Dallas the last time around. He was still nursing that injury. So I think having Jared Cook out there and having someone that could go down the field and streak and come across and line up in different positions, I think that's going to be something that the Dallas defense isn't going to be ready for. And because of that, that's going to open up things in a running game. And then it's also going to open up the ability to get those receivers in the slot like Randall Cobb, because they're going to have to be worried about Jared Cook and where he's going to line up and what he's going to do.
I love it. And I cannot wait. Sunday, it seems further away than it has in many weeks during this season. And again, thanks again for shopping with us, Miguel. Thanks again for your call. Now for a very short but very sweet voicemail. Unknown caller from, I think, Pennsylvania.
Go Pack Go. What a game. Go Pack Go.
And sometimes that's all you need is a good Go Pack Go. And what a game. I think that's the understatement of the century. Yes, Troy?
Oh, 100%. And he gave us two, so that's even better. 2 Go Pack Goes. Wow. Just goosebumps. And you know what? I was looking at that last game that we played against Dallas, and the 16-30 was the final score. And we were down 16-23 when we were driving and then coughed up the ball inside the 20. So this is a winnable game, people. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do something magical here. I mean, you had almost 300 yards from Rodgers in this game. He had a completion percentage, get this, 73.81% completion rate in this game. Now, we did have to throw the ball 42 times, which is a lot of throwing. So now that we have a little bit more balance with the run, I think this will really open up the game, and you're going to see another 300, 350 type game out of Rodgers this week. 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, no interceptions for 8 games in a row.
Doesn't get much better. I'm so glad we're fans of the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback right now. Oh, I love it. And you know how here on the Packers Fan Podcast, you always have your keys to the game, and then we guess our scores for the game. Sometimes we're close, and sometimes we're not at all. Well, Nathan, first-time caller from Arizona, called in. He's got some keys of his own, as well as his guess for the final score of the game. Take it away, Nathan.
Hi, this is Nathan from Arizona. This is my take on the Green Bay-Dallas game coming up this week. As far as the Jordy Nelson injury goes, Jordy's a huge part of our team, but we know how to get it done without him. We had to do it last year. Not to say it'll be easy, but a lot of our other receivers are really pulling together right now when we need them most. Randall Cobb being a big part of that. I think we can still win without him. I mean, it would obviously be easier to win with Jordy as opposed to without him, but I think that we have what it takes. I believe if he doesn't play this week versus Cowboys, he will play next week. I believe that we need to do a lot of power runs versus Cowboys this week. It worked well during the first meeting. We need to have Ty Montgomery kind of run in a Eddie Lacy fashion. I think we need to limit, as far as defense goes, we need to limit the number of blitzes that we bring. It seemed like we had a lot of blown coverage in that first game when we would bring a blitz. I think if we get Dak into trouble, they would possibly pull Dak in that game. Dak Prescott and play Tony Romo even, I think, is a possibility. If we could rattle Dak enough. And I think that would really mess up their flow. I think that we're on a good momentum. They're not, they had the bye week. They didn't even get a game this last week, so they don't have any momentum going. I feel that if we find our rhythm by halftime, that's going to be a key. If we get rolling by halftime, we get on our momentum before the half, that'll be key. I think that we need to turn every red zone trip into touchdowns, not field goals. That looked like a constant problem in the first game. Ball security is going to be the main focus, obviously. In the game earlier in the season, we had a lot of fumbles and picks, which I don't see happening again. It may have just been a single interception, actually, but we did end up getting the first interception from Dak that he ever threw. I think we can do that again. I believe that we will beat the Cowboys with a score of 13, Cowboys, Packers 24. I believe it will be somewhere around there. Cowboys 13, Packers 24.
I think that's a great score. I think he's a little low on the Packers side, though. I think it's going to be more like 31, but it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. This is a game, once again, where you have to think about how is the indoor conditions going to fare. I mean, we're not at Lambeau, we're not outside, so Rodgers really has to take that step forward again to say, hey, can I play in a dome stadium with the noise, with the crowd? He was able to do it that last week of the season up in Ford Field, so he should be able to do it again up there at Jerry Jones' place because, it might be a giant TV, but that's all they got, a giant TV.
And, that Lions crowd at Ford Field was nuts because they thought they could do it. So I think the Cowboys crowd may not even be quite that loud, comparatively speaking, or even if they are, it's spread out. But Nathan, you made a lot of great points, and we want to thank you for your call. I think that we'll do just fine. And that Cowboys-Packers game earlier this season, sure, it was this season, but it was so long ago, and the Packers are so different now that it's almost like it was not this season, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when you think about where we were at that time and who was playing in that game, I mean, you went, field goal first quarter, field goal second quarter, 10 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it was a completely different concept of an offense that we were playing back then. This is when we were all like, what's Aaron Rodgers doing? You can't even see anybody out there on the field. The receivers can't get any separation. That's not the case anymore. So we're going to see some real exciting stuff, I think, when these two teams match up.
And what do you think about Nathan's point about if we do rattle Dak Prescott enough, do you think they may actually put in Tony Romo?
I mean, you'd have to rattle him to the point where it's almost unrecoverable, in which case then, yeah, you could put in Tony Romo, but it's not going to do you any good because you're going to be down by so much at that point. You can't just rip out a rookie quarterback because he had a bad playoff game. I mean, you got plenty of time to win playoff games and win Super Bowls when you have a rookie quarterback in the first year. So I would not do that because that would completely ruin Dak Prescott's complete composure and how he approaches the game. It would just be so detrimental to him to pull him out to put Tony Romo in. I would not go that route unless it's like literally a bit like he comes out and puts up, I don't know, a Browns type performance or something.
Oh my, yikes. And as far as the crowd noise goes, if the Packers do score early and often, we can make that a non-factor, except for hearing some beautiful chants of "Go Pack Go" all the way from Texas.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Texas, got ourselves a voicemail here from Granny Cheese.
Hey, boys. It's Granny Cheese from Texas. Well, they said we were done at 4-6. They said we wouldn't beat Seattle. They said we wouldn't win the division. They said we wouldn't make the playoffs. They said we wouldn't beat New York. Now they'll say we won't beat Dallas. Let them keep talking. We showed them tonight. Great, fabulous game. Everybody from Texas only Green Bay Packers say hello, y'all. Go Pack Go. Till next week. Bye, guys.
I love it. Go Pack Go, y'all. That is good stuff. Thank you, Granny Cheese, a.k.a. Dawn. So many great calls from you this season, and I can't believe there was a point this season where we were 4-6. It just doesn't seem possible in hindsight.
Hey, she said that they were the ones that said it couldn't be done, and they included the two of us because we were there. We were pitchforks and torches after that Washington game. It was just
well,
especially when coming off that Indy loss after I drove all the way up there. And then to see him completely throw turds on the field. We're talking about the Lambeau squirrel. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, the Lambeau squirrel. We love that guy.
More important conversation was the Lambeau squirrel than this Packers team. And here we are 2 games away from the big dance.
But even though things were bad and things weren't rolling our way and we were questioning a lot of the decisions happening, you do recall I did pick a Packers victory every game this season. I was ever optimistic, Troy.
I just remember that Titans game. Remember the Titans game?
That hurt because there was no way we should have. The Titans at Lambeau, right?
No, at Titans.
Oh, at Titans, but still, Titans.
47 points on the defense, followed by the 42 points. I mean, that was the stretch, right? It was the Falcons 33, Colts 31, Titans 47, Redskins 42. Those 4 games, boom, 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 boom. And we were talking about fire everybody. And for some reason, Capers must have gotten his call, the phone call or something, because then it was 13-13-10. The Bears game, not sure what happened with that one. The Vikings 25, the Lions 24, and the Giants 13. So the defense has been phenomenal down this 8-game stretch.
Yeah, Julius Peppers, everybody. It's been good. I mean, there's pieces that make us nervous, but comparatively speaking, so far so good. And I am absolutely loving it, and I'm just so glad that things are rolling in the right direction. The Packers that we know, the Packers that we love watching are the Packers that are happening right now, Troy, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, coming up, brace yourselves. You may need to sit down for this next voicemail. Our buddy Steve from the Voice of Steve podcast. He's a comedian. He's a funny guy. He's from Appleton, Wisconsin.
And he's a Vikings fan, if I remember correctly.
I don't know about that. That's not mentioned in the voicemail, but
is he changing allegiances? That would be fun.
Let's just say he's excited about the Packers winning, but he has some unusual suggestions for the team. And just remember to smile when you listen to this. Steve from the Voice of Steve podcast.
Hi. This is Steve from the Voice of Steve. Going to put myself out there a little bit. Just a couple of comments about the game. You know, the one where the Packers totally destroyed the Giants, 38-13. I've got to be honest with you. Early in the game, I was a little disappointed in how the Packers were performing. And I really thought that Mike McCarthy should be fired, Aaron Rodgers should be traded, and they should pretty much skin Jordy Nelson alive and just turn him into a bunch of really nice handbags. But frankly, after the end of the second half, I was feeling much better. I still thought that Mike McCarthy should be fired, and Aaron Rodgers should really just be cut, not traded. And Jordy Nelson would frankly make for better wallets. So great game. Go Pack, go. Looking forward to watching them defeat the Dallas Cowboys. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.
The guy was injured, man. Could you pick on someone else? That's so mean.
Very mean.
Hey, you know what? Even if a Vikings fan can cheer for a win, then I suppose we have to say thank you very much for the phone call, Steve.
And listen to the Voice of Steve podcast. It's hilarious. And we were lucky enough when we were up there last year for a game, stopped off in, was it Appleton where we met him up for soda pop?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was indeed.
Good times, good times.
Always fun to hang out with Steve. Good stuff.
And thanks again for calling, Steve. I don't know if your suggestions are going to make the cut, but there they are. Now, we also heard from some folks on Facebook. Column Nolan in Ireland says, now we all love your positivity, but there's no way we could have predicted this. A blowout, a beautiful blowout.
Blowout it was, because it was not a blowout at the end of that half. Because even though the Hail Mary worked, I mean, just think about it. The Hail Mary doesn't work. If the Hail Mary doesn't work, and then we don't come out and score on that first possession after we deferred, I mean, it's still a tight ball game. So luckily the Hail Mary worked, and we still didn't score on the possession, but hey, bygones, right? Bygones.
Yeah, the Packers won 38-13. Now, I did predict the Packers would win 33-18. Kind of close.
I guess you win this week.
I think I did kind of think there'd be a blowout, but that's just me. You know how I am. Also heard from a Seahawks fan. All of the opposition is contacting us. Our good friend David Wu in Washington says, rematch in Seattle in 2 weeks? ?
I don't know if I could handle it, to be quite honest. I mean, for the stories and for the television and everything you can just do for that game as far as preparing and conversation. I mean, it would be fun. It would be epic. But man, if we lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship game, I don't know.
Well,
that's tough. I can't even talk about it. It just makes me nervous.
Let's focus on the Cowboys. Oh, but we'll keep you in mind, David, depending on how things shake out. Jay Walters says, what a great win. Defense looked the best they've been all season, and hope Jordy Nelson's okay. That kind of goes without saying. And yeah, the defense, wow, we actually had a nice playing defense. And if Clay Matthews can even do half of what he did on that play, 2 fumble recoveries on the same play. Oh, that's fabulous. John Cook says, go Pack, go. Let's hope we can rally and recover from these injuries and take down Dallas next week. Enjoy this first playoff Packers victory from Costa Rica. That's not a bad place to enjoy a Packers victory.
Especially with the way the wind is right now in the Midwest. Ooh, man, is it blowing out there.
It is chilly. And Granny Cheese in Texas wanted to remind us that this was also Ty Montgomery's first playoff experience. She was worried we left Ty off our list last week of people getting their first playoff experience. And, of course, go Pack, go.
That is true. That is true. On Twitter, Rob S., which is also RS Packeter, what a night. Cobb comes back on fire, and the defense proves themselves. Playoff football, baby. Nothing better. Hashtag go Pack go.
Woohoo!
Pat Matson 29 said everybody came through. What a team. Best wishes, Rogers. Can't add anything else other than wow. You can actually ask my wife, Pat, because when that Hail Mary landed, I said something like holy and another word after it, and so loud that she heard me from the basement all the way up on the second floor.
Oh my. She probably came down to make sure everything's okay.
Exactly right. And then I just hit the little rewind button on your remote controls. If you have like a DVR or a cable system or whatever, just played it over and over again. Then I went upstairs to my daughter and I was like, Carly, you got to watch this. So I literally put it on, and she literally, when Cobb caught the ball, she was like, holy crap. So she, like father, like daughter, just better language for the 12-year-old.
There you go. The tradition continues.
Who is T. Steve? Just got to believe. That was one hell of a play. Miguel in Phoenix again. Did you guys see NFL Good Morning Football saying that they should change the name of the Hail Mary to the @Aaron Rodgers 12?
I did not
see that.
I did not see that either, but I like the sound of that. Just rename that type of play the Aaron Rodgers or the AR-12 or the Aaron Rodgers 12 or anything like that.
Yep, the AR-12 instead of the Hail Mary.
Let's make it happen.
I'm sure Mary would probably like that too.
Good stuff.
Monica said, Monica said it took them a while to start, but they sure finished strong. 4 hearts, all green and gold colors all day.
You know, that's the best part of emojis is having the green and gold hearts.
Love it. Love it. But the best part is that in other news, Titletown District, which is on the west side of the stadium, will not be the only side of Lambeau changing shape in the near future.
What?
Over on the east end of the Lambeau Field complex, another project just passed a significant milestone. What is being called the Legends District will stretch from the outskirts of the practice facilities and eastward to the Tundra Lodge. The Legends District is intended to be a year-round center of leisure, recreation, retail, and entertainment. The plan stresses walkability, high-density construction, a consistent industrial chic architecture, plenty of greenery. The roads would actually include sidewalks, bike lanes, and large gateway signs branding the area. The district includes 15 acres of vacant, undeveloped land and other industrial lots that are ripe for redevelopment. And the plan, this is the best part, the plan was actually crafted from significant input by the business owners and the residents who actually live near the area. And most of the work was done by a 6-person steering committee, which drew on suggestions collected during the 3 public forums and a public survey, truly making the Legends District a citizen-driven effort.
That sounds fantastic. The whole Lambeau Field area is just going to be beautiful and important and have all these great activities. And you said it's stretching all the way out to the Tundra Lodge?
Yeah, man, that's a good, was that 4, 5, maybe 6 blocks?
Big blocks.
From the field? Yeah.
My very first ever trip to Lambeau Field when I went with my wife and kids at 4 and 12 season. I digress. We stayed at the Tundra Lodge. Great place. Man, it had great heaters, which was good because we came back frozen because the game was 26 degrees Monday Night Football. And we cranked up the heaters in that room. And by 1 a.m, we were opening up the doors, trying to let all the heat out. But the Tundra Lodge, great place. And wow, that's a lot of great Titletown activities.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about from the Tundra Lodge, you have to go. So you're at Ashland. So there's Bart Starr Drive. I mean, if you count it off by the streets, right, you're talking about 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18, 19, 20, 21 before you're back over on Oneida. So those are the short blocks, obviously. But yeah, the Titletown District, I guess, will be bordered up by Lombardi and Mike McCarthy Way, it appears. And then, of course, Holmgren Way is the back of like the Rush Center and the practice facilities there. So basically Holmgren Way all the way to Ashland Avenue.
Man, it's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait.
And Bret Favre Steakhouse is right in the smack dab middle of all that. So that'll be very, very fun. Very, very fun place to be hanging out with the green and gold.
That's where we had dinner on that first trip, Brent Favre Steakhouse, and then went to the tailgate party in that parking lot. Froze.
Good memories. Good memories.
Yes, other than losing on the final play of the game. But everything else was fantastic.
All right. Well, Packers NFC Divisional Round playoffs will kick off at 3 p.m. Central on Sunday afternoon. The weather for Sunday in Dallas will be a high of 56 degrees Fahrenheit with an 80% chance of rain outside. So Jerry definitely will have the roof closed because can't ruin that beautiful TV. Keys of the game, number 1, stop the run. Ezekiel Elliott's dash and dart moves are the offense and what makes the Cowboys shine. Our Magnificent Seven has been putting the brakes on those runners over the last couple of weeks, and they need to make it happen once again. Number 2, protect AR-12. Dallas is going to push him around quite a bit. The secondary, led by the former first-rounder Morris Claiborne, could pick off a few plays. Aaron has been turnover-free for 8 games, so taking care of the ball for AR-12 is going to be huge, like a wall. 3, Dak Prescott is a mobile quarterback, so watch out for the option reads. With Ezekiel as good as he is, keying in on Dak will make sure that Prescott will then be able to escape. So we want to make sure that containment on both the strong side and the weak side is in place to make sure that we don't have Dak doing one of those Russell Wilson imitations on us like we had so long ago. Number 4, cornerback Brandon Carr and safety Brian Jones have played well for Dallas, but aren't super great. Aaron does need to exploit these matchups in the passing game, so look for that as we have my prediction of Jared Cook really taking over this football game. And then, of course, run the ball. Establish the run this week, because in order to keep Ezekiel Elliott off the field, you need to have our offense on the field. So once again, running the ball, making sure we have time of possession control is the easiest way to ensure a Packers victory. Because I agree that it's fun scoring every 90 seconds because that was cool.
Yes,
but
it is.
we need to make sure that we're on the field much more than they are from an offensive perspective.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Got to find that right balance. Those are great keys. And if, Jared Cook can really make a huge difference, I'd love to see that as well. Good stuff, Troy. Now we just need the game.
The dope sheet's even, I said the dope sheet's got even greater stuff.
Well, it does. But since we had so much listener feedback, and that's our number one priority, I'm keeping my dope sheet tidbits to a minimum this week. But we do highly encourage you to read the whole thing. We will link to it in our show notes at PackersFanPodcast.com/127. Basically, the 11-6 Green Bay Packers will take on the 13-3 Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium in the divisional round of the playoffs on Sunday. And it is the second postseason meeting between the Packers and Cowboys in the last 3 years. We remember the 2014 NFC divisional playoff. And it's
oh my gosh. Do you see the irony in that?
Coinky-dink.
2014 Cowboys in the divisional, Seattle in the NFC Championship. Oh my gosh. Fate. Fate is in front of us.
All the regular stories. And this is
except for the final part of that story.
Well, yeah, but this is the alternate ending this year. Okay.
Okay.
This is the happy ending of the story.
The red verse. Got it.
Yes. Fringe shout out there. This is the 8th meeting all time in the playoffs. And while Green Bay leads the regular season series 14-13 games, Dallas leads the postseason series 4-3. But let me emphasize in there that those 3 losses that the Packers gave to the Cowboys in the playoffs, we did not have AR-12 as our quarterback at that time. So null and void, in my opinion.
We did have Brett Favre for a couple of those.
For a couple of those, yes. But man, the Cowboys just had everybody's number there for the first few years.
The more important thing, though, is that when you put those together, that's 17-17. So that means we're starting over at 0, which means we could take the lead as far as being one up on the Cowboys. And if you really think about the last 5 matchups, Wayne, technically we are 4-1.
Yeah, baby.
Against the Dallas Cowboys over the last 5 matchups we've had. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
It's all go, Pack, go as far as I'm concerned. Now, the Packers and Cowboys have both made the postseason 32 times, tied with the New York Giants for the most in NFL history. So how about that? Packers, Cowboys, and Giants. And, well, the Giants, they're done.
And the Cowboys will be also.
And the Packers will roll on. And the notable connection, latest Green Bay Packer running back Christine Michael played for Dallas, believe it or not, for part of the 2015 season, and he attended Texas A&M from 2009 to 2012, and he's from Beaumont, Texas. Read the full Packers Dope Sheet at PackersFanPodcast.com/127.
So I think that's almost like a homecoming game for him. So usually a homecoming game means a breakout game too.
Yeah, and he is getting better every week. I was frustrated early on. Why aren't we playing him more? But now he's got some spark, and yeah, like you said, homecoming. I'd like to see a Christine Michael touchdown or 2 put into the mix.
All right, time to pick the scores. You said 33-18, as you mentioned. I said 26-20, so you are clearly the better of the two. So I will let you have it first, Sir Wayne. And I'm just crystal ball right in front of me here. Yeah, you're going to pick a victory.
I don't know how you do it, Troy. How do you pick it? I am picking a Packers victory. Now, Although I would love to see us march into Dallas and just spank them around and come out of there with a 60-0 shutout blowout. Believe it or not, I'm going to try to be a little realistic this week. Packers are going to win 31-28, possibly in overtime. I think we just need to relax, RELAX. The game will play out, but it's going to take till the bitter end, I think, or the happy end. How about you, Troy?
I am along the same lines with you. I'm going to go with Packers 33, Cowboys 20, which I think at this point is the over at 51.5. So that's 53. So yeah, Packers 33, Cowboys 20, straight up, no overtime. This is our game. We had it last time. We were our own worst enemy. We can do it again. And the Packers are coming into this game as 4-point underdogs.
Unbelievable.
So,
inconceivable.
Whether we win or lose, I wouldn't put your money on the boys. That's all I'm going to say.
There you have it.
We'll cover the 4, no problem.
And since the Dallas Cowboys normally like to wear their, what they call their home jerseys, which are basically the white away jerseys, in my opinion, the Packers will likely get to wear our regular home jerseys in Dallas instead of those weird retro jerseys that we wore in the first meeting. So I just think the consistency of wearing our regular uniforms will just help out our mindset that much more.
And because we travel well, it'll be like a home game. So green, home game, go Pack go, no problem. It's all going to be fantastic.
And I even heard, it's hard to tell how the viewing is actually going to come together. But on one of the channels, it might have been on ESPN, they were saying that some people are projecting that this could be the most watched non-Super Bowl NFL game of all time.
Really?
Yes.
I suppose, yeah, because you have America's team and the former America's team playing. So, yeah, ratings could be really big for Sunday afternoon. I could see that.
Yeah, and it's the afternoon game, so everybody's home from church. And, of course, our friends in Europe and other countries around the world, that means another late night or early Monday morning for a victory morning. But, yeah, a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this game. Woo-hoo!
They're always easier when they are Victory Mondays. That is for sure.
No matter how tired we are.
We want to remind you that this is an unofficial Packers fan podcast. It's not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. However, we would love to have that honor to be able to go along. Just invite us. We'll go to Media Day at the Super Bowl even. It'd be fun. Let us know at media@PackersFanPodcast.com. And don't forget to become one of the Packers fan podcast faithful, like Dawn, like Saber Aid. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/support to see how you can make the podcast even better.
And we'll still have some more episodes of the podcast this season, win or lose. But, with the more we win, the more episodes we have. So listen to us on our new free Packers Fan Podcast app. Got one for Android, got one for iOS. Everybody's included. And that app is presented by theticketking.com. Don't get sold out of your next Packers game. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for all the details on the games. And follow us all season long on Twitter and during the offseason at Packers Fan Pod, and follow me as well. I'm at Wayne Henderson.
And me, I'm at Troy Heinrichs. Be sure to like us on Facebook as well. Just visit PackersFanPodcast.com/ you guessed it, Facebook to join the community.
And another / PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to get in your thoughts and feedback. Let your voice be heard. Be part of the next episode like all the great listeners that took part in being part of this week's episode. Anyway, tell your friends about the podcast, and thanks again for joining us on this episode of the Packers Fan Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe in iTunes and submit a review. Let us know how we've been doing this season and how much you love the show. Now, let's go ahead and show everyone whose America's team really is. That's right, it's a Green Bay Packers. So let me hear you. It's Division Championship weekend. Go Pack, go!